You are watching Conscious Evolution with Wes Heffernan.
What you believe you are is what you typically are going to produce. What your beliefs are about self is the most important. While we often think it's our beliefs about something out there, right? We're still, anything we point at, we're pointing at ourselves. And so at the end of the day, go ahead and just, let's start where we should start. And it's, what are your beliefs? Like, forget about what's out there. The world, right? And the world doesn't matter, right? The only thing that matters is, and this seems really selfish, and I struggle with this a little bit because I have this thing about, like, we shouldn't be selfish. Like, the little me is the ego. For a Mason, the ego death is like getting rid of that, right? And while there is some truth to that, I don't think that's the most accurate depiction of it. I think it's more about understanding and loving and giving the ego, who will certainly attach itself to this material world and will certainly lead you down paths of destruction, right? But all it takes is to give the love and attention and compassion to that part of who you are. And it's not about killing it. It's not about taming it. It's about helping it, your ego, this physical incarnation of yourself right in this moment, feel loved and release it from the pain that it's suffering. Being so connected to this physical world and so disconnected from the spiritual. And it tries to fill itself, the ego that is, with all these things. And the things aren't the problem. Things are great. That's what we're meant to have things. We're meant to eat well. We're meant to enjoy. Right? Joy is a big one. Love, like right below love is joy. It's meant to have those, but it's not meant to be controlled by those. And it's not meant to allow your ego to control you by those, right? And so, we're always being manipulated. Like everybody is being manipulated. But the question is who's doing the manipulating? I choose to manipulate myself. Stay in control. And once you can accept the fact that all this information you're taking in is what is manipulating your thoughts, which then manipulates how you feel, which then manipulates your environment, right? Like, if you can step back for a minute and cut that, and you can understand that, hey, I can't stop from being manipulated, but you know what? I can control who does it. And then it's about learning how to. How do I manipulate myself?
How does all of this tie into building a structure?
So, we'll have to go back to Freemasonry to really find the roots of that, right? And you have working Masons and you have speculative Masons, and you have the whole story about how the working Masons had to hide, not really hide. Over time it did become that, but initially it was creating an order of literally temple building. King Solomon's temple. All over Europe you see, fantastic examples of where the Masons built tremendously exotic and unbelievable buildings, structures. And within that, there's a lot can be said where Freemasonry really started and all. It can go back to Egypt, if you want to, Haram Abif, kingship rituals of ancient, you can take it way back, but that really wasn't, while that may be some of the roots of Freemasonry, that wasn't Freemasonry, and it came along later. But the plumb level square and understanding and putting together the ideas of the fact that part of figuring out and being able to embody what consciousness is, to actually be that temple, that consciousness is like, hey, I'm gonna feed you because you're doing what I need you to do. You have free will to do anything you want to do, right? But you are taking the path that is helping me grow consciousness as a whole, right? And so we're gonna feed you, and it feels like that's kind of what happens. Like I could choose, any of us could choose not to do. We can go do whatever we want. We can let the little ego and little me have a grand time, right? And that's fine. Nothing's wrong with that. But if you choose, right, if you decide and declare and ask to have a different life, you can. And I think it's important that people understand that now, because I feel that all of this tension and division is just, everybody wants to feel like they can be who they want to be and still be considered a part of this.
Do you want to ultimately have a group of people that you teach?
So it's not about being a teacher, because I don't want students. It's not about being a leader. I don't want followers. It's about being the truth and living the truth and seeing what happens. I mean, honestly, that's where I'm at right now. Like I 46 years old. I know I still have some things to probably figure out, but I'm at a point where, I've spent 3 decades building my foundation. I'm ready to build my temple now. And part of that is sharing. And part of that sharing is helping. However it happens, I don't know. I can't say. Like, I used to be real big about control, like controlling this, controlling that. Even in the last couple months, I've been, talking to you all, that's kind of letting go of that, some of that. Bringing in a second crew, having Lonnie as my lead man, letting go of that control. So it's been a lot of letting go for the last couple of years. And it's time now for me to move forward, like to take that step and stop contemplating it and working. I'm ready. It's time to build my temple. I've got a lot of practice, and so
How do you define your temple?
my temple. So another word for that would be a universe. I'm ready to build my universe. And we all can do that. Here's God's universe. This is what God built. But God gave us the right and the ability and the know-how, the tools, the knowledge, the strength, the courage to build our own universe. And yes, it is a microcosm to the macro, for sure. I'll put a caveat on that, for sure. But we'll say for sure for right now. And so I'm ready to start building my world, my universe. And
So when you build your universe, of course, you got a wife, you got kids. How does your wife play into this? Does she have the same beliefs?
She has very, very similar beliefs. We have been in this journey together, and in fact, if you hear her tell it, I was the first person that she had ever met that was having the same thoughts and types of internal conversations that she had, right? Now her path is much different. I'm not going to speak too much to her path, but I will say that she was more in line and in tune with like Eastern beliefs, Eastern studies, Wiccan, what most would be called labeled pagan, but ultimately what they really are is matriarchal, the feminine side of our belief systems that we once lived by thousands of years ago. And so she was tapping in more to that, which makes sense. She's a female. While I was taking the other side of the journey. And it has certainly been a back and forth relationship. She does have Crohn's disease, so her health has been a struggle. And healing has been her important, like her goal, right? Where mine was, what's the human mind capable of? What's the human capacity it evolved to? Now it's what can human civilization actually accomplish if we work together. Like hers is healing, and that's, I think, I don't want to speak for women, right? But from my experience to this point, our job as men is to give the women in general, a place to heal, because they all need to heal. They've been through, individually, sure, I can't know even my wife's, I don't know her specific story other than what she tells me, but I know what the matriarchal aspect of existence has been through over these last couple thousand years. I mean, you can go all the way back to Eve, right? Like, I'm sure we blame Eve for eating the apple for the fall of man, right? I mean, come on, that's right. How do you think that makes her feel? Especially when she doesn't even know how she took the bite, right? Right. So that's right. But creating a structure for her to heal has been my first goal, ultimately. And I didn't realize that till about 2 years ago. Yeah, about 2 years ago, when I got down on my knees in front of her and apologized. Like, I understand who you are, and I understand what you've been through, and I understand now that you have sacrificed tremendously for me to get to this place. And now it's my turn.
Thanks for watching. Join us next time on Conscious Evolution. Don't forget to subscribe.